Welcome to Swim, dear guys, dear friends. I'm going to read a bit of a bit. Jack Kerouac, this is his masterpiece, On the Road. I love Jack Kerouac's literature. Really is like jazz, very fluent, very spontaneous, very vivid. A man who really loved life, and let's read some excerpts from On the Road, a novel I really recommend you to enjoy. This is a kind of novel that maybe will not change your life, but will make you cherish your life and whatever you are living. Bad or wrong, bad, wrong, or good. This is life and we must live it as it comes. Thank you very much, Gary Bay here, Gary Bits. Let me read you from a chapter when he met a Mexican beautiful girl, and it goes like this. This is on the road, chapter 12. Chapter 12, and I love this paperback edition. Later I will show you another edition that I have. Well, I have it already here. On the Road, this collection, I love this collection. The artwork is beautiful, and this is part of a collection of classical books. John Steinbeck, even Gabriel Garcia Marquez, etc. On the Road, chapter 12. In the morning, Remy and Leanne were asleep as I quietly packed and slipped out the window the same way I'd come in, and left Mill City with my canvas bag. And I never spent that night on the old ghost ship, the Admiral Free B, it was called. And Remy and I were lost to each other. In Oakland, I had a beer among the bumps of a saloon with a wagon wheel in front of it, and I was on the road again. I walked clear across Oakland to get on the Fresno Road. 2 rides took me to Bakersfield, 400 miles south. The first was the mad one, with a burly blonde kid in a soup-up rod. See that toe? He said as he gunned the hip to 80 and passed everybody on the road. Look at it. It was swathed with bandages. I just had it amputated this morning. The bastards want me to stay in the hospital. I packed my bag and left. What's a toe? Yes, indeed, I said to myself, look out now, and I hung on. You never saw a driving fool like that. He made Tracy in no time. Tracy is a railroad town. Brakemen eat surly meals in dinners by the tracks. Trains howl away across the valley. The sun goes down long and red. All the magic names of the valley unrolled. Manteca, Madera, all the rest. Soon it got dusk, a grassy dusk, a purple dusk, over tangerine groves and long melon fields, the sun the color of pressed grapes, slashed with burgundy red, the fields the color of love and Spanish mysteries. I stuck my head out of the window and took deep breaths of the fragrant air. It was most beautiful of all moments. The madman was a brakeman with the Southern Pacific, and he lived in Fresno. His father was also a brakeman. He lost his toe in the Oakland yards, switching. I didn't quite understand how. He drove me into Posing Fresno and let me off by the south side of town. I went for a quick Coke in a little grocery by the tracks, and here came a melancholy Armenian youth along the red boxcars. And just at the moment a locomotive howled, and I said to myself, yes, Saroyanstown. I had to go south. I got on the road. A man in a brand new pickup truck picked me up. He was from Lubbock, Texas, and was in the trailer business. Do you want to buy a trailer? He asked me. Anytime? Look me up. He told stories about his father in Lubbock. One day, my old man left the day's receipts sitting on top of the safe. Plump forgot. What happened? A thief came in the night, acetylene torch and all, broke open the safe, riffled out the papers, kicked over a few chairs, and left. And that $1,000 was sitting right there on top of the safe. What do you know about that? He let me off south of Bakersfield, and then my adventure began. I grew cold. I put on the flimsy army raincoat I bought in Oakland for $3 and shuddered in the road. I was standing in front of an ornate Spanish-style motel that was lit like a jewel. The cars rushed by, LA bound. I gestured frantically. It was too cold. I stood there till midnight, 2 hours straight, and cursed. It was just like Stuart, Iowa again. There was nothing to do but spend a little over $2 for a bus the remaining miles to Los Angeles. I walked back along the highway to Bakersfield and into the station and sat down on a bench. I had bought my ticket and was waiting for the LA bus when all of a sudden I saw the cutest little Mexican girl in slacks come cutting across my side. She was in one of the buses that had just pulled in with a big sigh of air brakes. It was discharging passengers for a rest stop. Her breasts stuck out straight and true. Her little flanks looked delicious. Her hair was long and lustrous black, and her eyes were great big blue things with timidities inside. I wished I was on her bus. A pain stabbed my heart, as it did every time I saw a girl I loved who was going the opposite direction in this too big world. The announcer called the LA bus. I picked up my bag and got on. And who should be sitting there alone but the Mexican girl? I dropped right opposite her and began scheming right off. I was so lonely, so sad, so tired, so quivering, so broken, so beat that I got up my courage, the courage necessary to approach a strange girl, and acted. Even then I spent 5 minutes beating my thighs in the dark as the bus rolled down the road. You gotta, or you'll die. Damn fool, talk to her. What's wrong with you? Aren't you tired enough of yourself by now? And before I knew what I was doing, I leaned across the aisle to her. She was trying to sleep on the seat and said, Miss, would you like to use my raincoat for a pillow? She looked up with a smile and said, No, thank you very much. I sat back trembling. I lit a butt. I waited till she looked at me with a sad little side look of love, and I got right up and leaned over her. May I sit with you, miss? If you wish. And this I did. We're going. LA. I love the way she said LA. I love the way everybody says LA on the coast. It's their one and only golden town when all is said and done. That's where I'm going too, I cried. I am very glad you let me sit with you. I was very lonely and I've been traveling a hell of a lot. And we settled down to telling our stories. Her story was this. She had a husband and a child. The husband beat her, so she left him back at Sabino, south of Fresno, and was going to LA to live with her sister a while. She left her little son with her family, who were grape pickers and lived in a shack in the vineyards. She had nothing to do but brood and get mad. I felt like putting my arms around her right away. We talked and talked. She said she loved to talk with me. Pretty soon she was saying she wished she could go to New York too. Maybe we could, I laughed. The bus ground up grapevine paths, and then we were coming down into the great sprawls of light. Without coming to any particular agreement, we began holding hands. And in the same way, it was mutely and beautifully and purely decided that when we got my hotel room in LA, she would be beside me. I ached all over her. I leaned my head in her beautiful hair. Her little shoulders drove me mad. I hugged her, and she loved it. We will continue later, my dear friends. This is On the Road, and this is Swim. Thank you very much for hanging there with me.